Oh,
Rev, you know you were right there
from the beginning.
with the stuff that
Yep.
was going on in Brooklyn at
Yep.
that time, at
Yep.
Howard Beach. You
Yep.
were right there.
He had in one of the early movies, he had my name. Then he put me in Malcolm, and I wasn't even old enough to know Malcolm. So we've been through it all.
For those who see Malcolm X, it's 3 hours. But fast forward to the scene yourself,
Yep.
Bobby Seale.
Right. Bobby Seale, Denzel, and me.
Yeah.
Denzel was on the set.
Now let me ask a question.
Yep.
What was your weight on that scene?
I probably about 270. I was bigger then.
Yeah.
Still had the hair.
And you had the head on.
Now it was
Denzel, yourself, and Bobby Seale.
all in one scene.
And also, there was no cut, so we went like this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Only Spike could have done that.
It's my brother right here.
My baby.
Brooklyn's in the house.
Yes, sir.
Brooklyn's in the house.
BK. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. We are in critical times. Healthcare premiums are going up, oil and gas going up, all kinds of things that are costing us what we are comfortable to or what we were getting by. That's why I am asking you to be at the National Action Network Convention, where we're going to have leading political figures, leading civil rights leaders, leading activists, leading faith leaders, leading youth activists convene at the National Action Network Convention, April the 8th through the 11th, where we are going to strategize, hear the plenary sessions, question, and come out with how we back up this whole retrenchment of our rights and our ability to live. It's not just about rhetoric, it's about a strategy and get results. That's why we in National Action Network have always been on the front line, and we need you with us more now than ever. To register, all of our sessions are free. All of our sessions are free. To register, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net or call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651. Don't worry about how tough they are. Worry about how tough we must become. We never had a victory without a fight. It's time to strategize and fight back. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton time. It's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. You need to keep it real with Reverend Al Sharpton right here on Uber TV. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. Every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me.
Women's History Month. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to all of you across the country, and good morning to our West Coast listeners. And welcome to all those listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm Dominique Sharpton. I'm Reverend Sharpton's eldest daughter. I'm sitting in for the Rev today, and we have a lot to talk about, got a lot to be involved in, and need to discuss what's going on in today's world, what's going on in our society, what's going on in our community, and certainly we need to be about it and certainly talk about it. Want to also grant a good afternoon to those that are watching us via live stream on nationalactionnetwork.net and joining our message board this afternoon. Good afternoon to all of you as well. Want to, of course, talk about, as Reverend Sharpton is out on today's broadcast, we are live. I am live in New York City at National Action Network's corporate headquarters, and we're taking your calls across the country. You can always join in on the conversation. It's going to be unique today, as always, and we invite you to join us. Call us today at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Those of you that hear me, I'm battling some type of, a cold or flu. I don't want to claim it, but I hope that someone mentioned to me as I was getting off the elevator today. He said, I was like, hey, happy Wednesday. He said, happy Wellness Wednesday. And so I guess it's Wellness Wednesday, and I hope that everyone is well. I am trying to, of course, get there as well. But this weather, I don't know where y'all are located. I'm in New York, and this weather has just been really difficult. So one day is hot, the next day is freezing cold. So y'all bear with me. I'm dealing with sinuses and a whole bunch of other things, but we here and we got a lot to talk about, and we're going to do just that. To want to get into, of course, some of the pressing top stories of the week. And we know that certainly we've got to be aware and got to spread this information, but want to talk about what's happening in Israel. They're saying that Israel has killed now Iran's intelligence minister, and the United States, of course, is unleashing bunker busters. So Israel and the United States sharply escalated strikes on Iran and its allies, and we want to talk about that. Israel is saying that it killed Iranian intelligence minister after the reported killings, of course, of senior Iranian figures. And while the United States, of course, forces said that they used 5,000-pound deep penetrator bunker buster munitions against hardened Iranian missile sites near the Strait of Hormuz. And this fighting is also widening in Lebanon. We were talking about that on yesterday. And certainly where Israeli strikes in central Beirut reportedly killed at least 10 people. So the human toll is exponentially rising across the region, and now more than 2,000 people have reportedly been killed in the broader Middle East fighting, including over, of course, 1,000 or 1,200 in Iran alone, and at least 850 in Lebanon. Also in Israel, 13 United States service members, with 2 additional American deaths that have been reported as non-combat related. But President Donald Trump, he's also expected to attend a dignified transfer for 6 service members who were killed in the crash of a refueling aircraft. And Washington, of course, is bracing for a much wider fallout beyond the battlefield. The State Department has ordered United States embassies and consular posts worldwide to conduct an immediate security review, warning of possible spillover effects from the expanding Middle East conflict. And that move, of course, signals a lot of concerns, growing concerns, that the war could trigger, of course, broader regional instability, or, of course, threats to the United States personnel and facilities, of course, nationwide. But as we're watching a conflict that could literally reshape the world economy overnight. This is no longer a regional conflict. It's now a global risk territory, in my opinion. And the use of bunker busters signals, obviously, escalation, I think, into a full-scale war posture and not a deterrence. And so the Strait of Hormuz, with its global oil lifeline, if it's disrupted, Americans can certainly feel it at the pump immediately. We were talking about that. And as gas prices could rise, and if you think that this is happening overseas, well, it's happening to us as gas will jump, of course, tremendously, and we can experience a great hardship, of course, in our household. So do you all trust how this war is being handled? Do you think that the Congress, of course, should have more to say before things go further? We want to talk about that. And certainly, I know that there were callers that were calling yesterday talking about this very thing. But, we feel like, things are in conflict seems to be, far away from us. But we are experiencing a lot of the ramifications and things that will happen. Of course, in the midst of this, it's going to impact the American people a great deal. And so I want to talk about that. And as we are talking about things and talking about conflict and war and what's going on, of course, in our country and in surrounding areas around us, we also want to talk about what's going on in our own backyard. And so want to also talk about, and for those of you, I'm going to mention it. So the convention is coming up, National Action Network's convention, and we are going to be talking a lot about, what's going on with the upcoming midterms, with a lot of the ramifications and things that's going on around voting, around what we are going to do about that, and the SAVE Act that's still pending and going on, and hopefully won't ever be passed. But we got a lot to deal with, and in this moment, it's important for us to come together. And so if you have not registered, I'm opening it up, saying it to you now. You got 3 hours today. If you're listening to Keeping It Real, if you haven't registered for the convention, you can register today while you're listening and engaging in the conversation on Keeping It Real. You can go to the website, nationalactionnetwork.net, and register to attend National Action Network's National Convention. We are convening, this is the 35th anniversary of National Action Network, and we come together every single year to really lay out what that action agenda looks like. What the action agenda looks like as we are dealing with so many issues in our community, from immigration reform to criminal justice reform to education reform to healthcare reform. We've got a lot to talk about. You were talking about yesterday the issues of healthcare and how when we go to the pharmacy now, we've got to pay a lot more than we used to. Things are going up. Medication, the cost of medicine is going up. The cost to see a doctor even is going up. And so we want to talk about what's going on in our communities around healthcare. We know that Black maternal health is a real major issue, a major concern, a major civil rights issue in this time. And so we are going to be talking about that and so many other things. And we'll be joined by some of the top legislators who have been working, to really deal with a lot and confront a lot of these issues from a legislative perspective. So we'll be having a really, really heavy-hitting 4-day event in New York City at the Sheraton Hotel, and we want all of you to join us. It is absolutely free. The convention is absolutely free 99. It's free to attend. All you have to do is pre-register. So we hope that you will register and join us at National Action Network's National Convention. 877-532-5797, 877-532-5797. Good afternoon to the message board. Good afternoon to you, Georgia Danielle. I see that you are live and you are ready to talk about what's going on today on our message board. Certainly good afternoon to you and all of you. We got a lot to talk about. We want to talk about Israel. We want to also talk about what happened in Illinois on yesterday. Jesse Jackson Jr.'s comeback bid failed in Illinois in the primary. we've got a lot to talk about there, and I want to get into that analysis. I know a lot of people are wanting to talk about that and chime in about that, and so we are going to get into all of it and more on Keeping It Real today. Dominique Sharpton, I'm sitting in for the Reverend Al. Got a lot to do, got a lot to talk about, and want to hear from you. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Reverend Sharpton is away today. As I mentioned, he is embarking and continuing to go to various cities as we at National Action Network are in this HBCU empowerment tour. So we are touring various communities around the country and various HBCUs where we are mobilizing students and getting them involved in civil action and civic engagement, social justice, informing them, of course, about how their vote matters and how important it is to be on that role, fighting for justice and equality. More of that and so much more coming up. It's Dominique Sharpton. I hear that music, so we're going to take a break. You can join in on the conversation today. Call us at 1-877-532-5797. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones. And too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughters started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the door's open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of Nash actually, and others. The way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
National Action Network. Power in action. 35 years of justice, impact, and purpose.
Wow. This is the Saturday after I had done 90 days in federal jail for leading a protest in Vieques, Puerto Rico. And I had went down to join Latino activists that were against the Navy bombings that was exercising Navy bombings that was causing asthma and health effects among the children there. And I was on my way to Saturday rally one Saturday, and I said, if they're going down there protesting that, and there were protesters, they would go out in the Navy base in the field and lay down, and they'd arrest them for being on federal property. And if they were doing that, then I would join them, because many of the Latino leaders went to jail with us protesting Amadou Diallo. I ended up having to do 90 days in federal jail. They transferred me from the federal prison in Puerto Rico, me and 3 others that went. They only got 40 days. They said because had a long sheet that it was of many other civil rights arrests, they gave me 90 days. I had to do 50 by myself. When I got out and went to the Saturday rally, Stephanie Mills, who we'd known each other since we were kids, she was there and sang at the rally that Saturday. That's her singing Home, as soon as I get home. One, she knew I loved the song, but 2, it was appropriate because I was coming home. And we won that. They closed the Navy base in Vieques, Puerto Rico. You go there now, there's buildings and condos and a little plaque for the 4 of us. They call the Vieques 4.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm Dominique Sharpton, Reverend Sharpton's eldest daughter, sitting in for the Rev today, taking your calls across the country. You can join in on today's conversation by calling us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Got a lot to talk about today. Want to hear from you. Certainly good afternoon to all of those, of course, watching us on the message board as well.
Keeping it real.
All right. Those of us watching on the message board as well, good afternoon. Waiting for this music to go down so I can talk to the people.
You're live.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Dominique Sharpton sitting in for the Rev today, taking your calls across the country. You can join in on today's conversation. Call us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. And good afternoon, of course, to those that are joining us via the message board. We got a lot to talk about and certainly want to hear from you. And whether we're talking about what's going on in the Middle East or we're talking about what's going on in Illinois, we've got to know what's going on and we've got to be about what's going on, y'all. We've got to be in tune and involved in the action. So I want to talk to the message board. I see a lot of people are tuning in already, talking about various issues. Of course, yes, we want to talk about what happened at the Oscar, James Mitchell, with this situation that actress Teyana Taylor is saying that she was shoved. You were mentioning and want to talk about that. I, for one, know Teyana very well. She grew up in Harlem and she used to come to National Action Network's headquarters all the time. And as you know, Ashley, my sister, and I developed a youth group out of National Action Network, and we really had a lot going on at the House of Justice. So from any given time, at any point of the day, you would see a lot of young people convening at the House of Justice to talk about some of the current issues that was going on. They would come after school, they would work on their homework, and just be involved in community. It was kind of like the stop and shop for young people who, didn't want to be outside getting into trouble. They wanted to be doing something that was really focused on positivity. And so Teyana Taylor was one of our people, one of our young people that would come through the House of Justice very often and through National Action Network's headquarters. And so we have seen and grew up with this young lady to see her rise to such amazing accomplishments. And we always knew that she was a star, and to see her really shine in these elements in this moment, from winning a Golden Globe to being nominated for an Oscar to her career, of course, in the music industry. And it seems like she wears so many different hats, and she is so talented in so many different facets. So yes, the incident that happened at the Oscars definitely raised a lot of cautiousness and suspicion. She reported that, of course, one of the security guards at the Oscars shoved her as she was trying to go on stage with the rest of the cast and producers of One Battle After Another when they won for Best Picture at the Oscars. And since then, the Academy has released a statement of apology, and things seem to have been resolved very quickly in terms of dealing with what happened to Sister Teyana. And so we definitely want to continue to watch how that, unfolds, and hopefully that person learned their lesson to not only, push a woman, let alone you don't push Teyana Taylor. And so thank you so much for making that comment, and good afternoon to you. No justice, no peace. That's right. Thank you so much for saying that. Taking your calls across the country, and you can join in on the conversation today. Call us at 1-877-532-5797. A lot of people, of course, want to talk about Jesse Jackson Jr.'s bid, of course, failed in Illinois in the primary for the congressional seat. The former Illinois congressman lost the Democratic primary in Illinois on the 2nd District, failing to return to office more than, of course, a decade after resigning in 2012 amid a federal corruption scandal, and later serving prison time for misusing campaign funds and other things. And Donna Miller has won by building broad support and staying focused on the issues. The Cook County Commissioner emerged victorious in the crowded primary by centering, of course, her campaign on public health and public safety and budget oversight, while she also leaned on strong ties to the Democratic women's organizations and avoided direct contacts on direct attacks on her opponents, as other people did not. But outside of the funding and, of course, the national attention that helped shape this race, she benefited from more than, it was reported, $4 million in ad spending. And definitely, the opposition of Jackson, who spent a little over $1 million, that was reported. But with the district that was heavily Democratic, Miller is now, of course, expected to be the favorite in the general election. And I want to say, for one who is very, of course, close to the Jackson family, one who knows Jesse Jackson Jr. very well, I know how dynamically brilliant this man is. I know how committed he is to really doing good work, as he has done so much of over the, in his lifespan. And so, all I can say is well done to my brother, Jesse Jackson Jr. I think that this is just the start to his resurrection. And I feel that, one setback is just really a setup for the next achievement. And so I don't consider this a loss. I consider this, something that we all need to be aware of, as he's going to do amazing things, and he's going to continue to do great things. And I feel like, I wanted to say that he certainly has Dominique Sharpton's support. He has my support, and certainly want to wish him well in everything that he does. And really the fact that, he put himself out there again with all that was happening in the world, with the fact that even the week before the election, he had to bury his father. To me, that's really courageous to make such a move. And so I feel like he's very appreciated, and I thank him for continuing to show us really that redemption is necessary in American culture, and to really have real liberty and justice. So continued success to Jesse Jackson Jr. and all that he wishes and hopes to, of course, accomplish. And of course, in his future endeavors, we wish him all the best and wish him well, and know that he is a brother and a dear friend, and we love him. So that's my take on Jesse Jackson Jr. Good afternoon to you, Josephine Johnson. Blessings to you as well. Okay, people are saying Happiness Donuts. He's saying he didn't personally like Junior's unnecessary dig towards President Obama. Okay, I understand that. I understand people's frustration and feeling about what, he said at the services while burying his father. But we need to also be aware of the fact that he was burying his father. It's like, let the children say what they're saying. And I hear you. I definitely hear, and that's why we got to talk about that. But I do feel like, and overall, he was prepared for this moment and would have done an amazing job back as congressman. But that is that, and that is that. Thank you so much for your comments. I hear the music. We're going to take another break. Dominique Sharpton, I'm sitting in for the Rev, taking your calls. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real.
Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich Newton, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis. for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Black Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, there's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are. Because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you. let them know they killed the dream.
I have a dream today.
They can't kill the dream. Hi, I'm Reverend Al Sharpton, inviting you to be at the National Action Network National Convention with faith leaders, political leaders, where we plan our civil rights strategy. It is April the 8th through the 11th at the Sheraton, New York. It's free. Call 1-877-626-4651 or go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and register now before we have to close down.
You're loud.
I'll see you.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm Dominique Sharpton, Reverend Sharpton's eldest daughter, sitting in for the Rev today, taking your calls across the country. You can certainly join in on the conversation today. Call us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. We got a lot to talk about, got a lot to deal with, and certainly want to hear from you. As I mentioned earlier, make sure that those of you who are listening today on the broadcast, if you have not already pre-registered for National Action Network's National Convention, you can do so right now. You can go online, go to the website, nationalactionnetwork.net, and make sure you register today. We already have a commitment of over 8,000 people who have already made that commitment to say they're coming to New York and they're coming to the convention. And so we don't want to leave you out. We want for you to also be able to come and be able to experience this amazing 4-day heavy hitting day event that we have, this 4-day of action that we will be convening for 4 days of action and implementation so that we can mobilize and strategize and build upon what we're doing in this moment, how we are dealing with all that's going on across the country and the world today. We need to convene, we need to mobilize, and we need to create that strategy for action. So we want you to join us in New York, April 8th through the 11th. You can go to the website, nationalactionnetwork.net, and make sure to register today. As we were talking, definitely got a lot to talk about. I know people want to talk about what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on, of course, what happened in Illinois as voters came out and made their decision early on, what's going on. And we want to really talk about it and be about it. Let's go to the phones, 1-877-532-5797. I didn't get to talk to my friend yesterday, so I'm glad he called in today. Still Bill, I've been waiting to hear from you from Cincinnati. What's going on, brother? Good afternoon. You're keeping it real.
This is the day the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it, and I will keep it real.
I was wondering what happened to you
my
yesterday.
sister.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. I didn't call yesterday. I called
See.
last week and gave your father his normal props, and I'm going to give your father his props today. Take a well-deserved vacation, Reverend. You are definitely the superhero. You've done your job. Now it's your daughter's turn to do her job, and she is keeping it real. Donald Trump was in Cincinnati last week, and I want him to hear this. He needs to take a bath, okay? Because I heard the fact that he has so much cologne on him and everything. And it was like it was the normal thing of James Brown talking loud, saying nothing. But in his world, he was just quacking. What he normally does. He quacks and quacks and quacks. And I want him to hear this. And I'm going to tell you this, Donald Trump. You are not going to be in office for a third term. I guarantee you that. Dominique, has been real. You made my day. So I'm just going to sign off, and I'm going to keep it real. Bye.
Bye, Still Bill. Thank you so much for your call. You always make me laugh talking about keeping it real. I'm so glad to always hear from you. Thank you so much for keeping it real with me today. So much going on the message board. I see y'all chiming in. We got a lot to talk about. Want to also talk about, as we were talking about Iran and what's happening in the Middle East. So what do y'all think about the fact Republican leaders have rejected demands for public hearings on Trump's war with Iran? And after weeks of classified briefings, the Democrats like Senator Tim Kaine and Senator Chris Murphy said that they want public hearings to force the Trump administration to explain its strategy on Iran, including, of course, whether the United States could put boots on the ground and how it would secure Iran's nuclear material and what the plan is to end the war. So Republicans are mostly resisting those calls for now, and GOP leaders, including, of course, the House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune, argued that public hearings in the middle of an active military operation could compromise sensitive missions, and they also say that lawmakers are already getting answers through classified briefings and public press conferences. But still, there's a few Republicans like Lindsey Graham and Mike Rounds and Tom Tillis who are suggesting that hearings may happen even later. So the bigger fight is over Trump's war strategy and the oversight. Lawmakers on both sides appear to have lingering questions about whether, of course, this conflict is going to head toward the regime change and who would actually take control of Iran's nuclear materials and how would the United States plan to deal with Iran's Strait of Hormuz blockade against rising gas prices? So Democrats are saying if hearings are denied, they'll keep, of course, forcing war powers votes to increase pressure on the Republicans. Now, what I'm trying to say is, what do y'all feel like? I mean, should we be having hearings while they're talking about war? Is that really what we need to be doing at this point? Or should we just, avoid it altogether? The question isn't, of course, what we're doing overseas. It's who gets to ask questions about it, right? And so what is going on here? What do y'all think about that? Call in and talk to me about that. And also, Iran is threatening, as I mentioned, the Gulf oil. We're dealing with, of course, seeing astronomical gas prices. I just filled my tank and paid $107. It is ridiculous. I'm confused as to what is going on here. I don't know if y'all are experiencing the same thing. I know I've been living in New York and everything is high already, but I'm just like, really $100? Like, are we really getting there with what's going on? Like, is that really where we're going here in America? Talk to me, y'all. What's going on? What y'all dealing with? Is $100 really to fill a tank? It's a lot. Bruce Turner, I agree with you. We need to know what the end game is. And Rodney Jones, the mayor of Queensbridge, always good to see you and hear your comments. He said he's been attending the NAN Convention for about 14 years. And every year it is a history-making experience. No justice, no peace. So thank you, Brother Rodney, for chiming in and giving us that PSA of the National Action Network Convention. And, without even announcing, a lot of the people that's going to be coming through the doors of the convention. We got a lot of the top lawmakers, a lot of legislators who have governed over the country. We've got, people that are really at the top strategy of the game as it relates to entrepreneurship, as it relates to business, as it relates to entertainment, as it relates to politics, as it relates to healthcare, education. So we are going to be convening with people from all over the country who have really reputable stakes, of course, in not only activism, but of course in breaking barriers, in course of being vocal and not being afraid to speak out and to really deal with head on what is it going to take for us to progress forward. And so we've got a lot to deal with and want to come together in this magnitude and capacity to really lay out that action agenda. So make sure y'all register. Thank you, Brother Rodney, for that comment. And thank you so much for always keeping it real. Still, Bill, I am really, really happy that you called and kicked us off today from Cincinnati. Thank you so much. Donna Howard is saying the airfare has gone up too. I got one-way ticket to Miami for 2 people on Spirit Airlines and it costs over $700. What? Now, Spirit is supposed to be the airline where you're supposed to get the discount, right? Spirit is supposed to be the one that we can all afford, right? So Spirit is going up. That is wild. I see that, Donna. Thank you so much for saying that. Faye Broom is saying, what is going on? Gas is so high now. I know. Tell me about it. And Tanya Stovall, 9920, this year seems to be the largest crowd ever to attend the National Action Network Convention, expecting great things to happen as usual. Thank you so much for that comment as well. Let's see who else is chiming in on the message board. I see y'all are lit today. Thank you so much for joining us on the message board as y'all are watching live via nationalactionnetwork.net. And Evangelist Ramsey, thank you so much for also reiterating about DEI Thursday. So National Action Network is involved in a weekly demonstration where we have been convening for over 2 years now, every Thursday, talking about standing for diversity, equity, and inclusion. As we know, it is a threat in so many areas. It's a threat everywhere. And when DEI is under attack, we stand up and fight back. And so every Thursday, National Action Network has been convening at 787 11th Avenue in New York. Every Thursday, 12 to 1. And if you're in the area, we invite you to join us on Thursdays as well to get into the action with that and join us on Thursdays, 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock in New York City. Brother Rodney said, I'm also, you're talking about you're looking forward to meeting people. I agree with that. I think that for the convention, there's a lot of, I've met so many people from Oklahoma City to California to Detroit, Michigan to Chicago, Illinois. There's so many people that convene and come together. And it's like, who would have thought that there are so many people in the country who feel the way I feel, who want to join in and really support the movement and to really be actively involved, not just saying, I'm here or, I support what's going on, but to be actively involved in what is happening to us across the country. So I always look forward to really talk about what's going on and to really meet a lot of people who are also like-minded activists like me who convene and come from all over the country. So thank you so much for that as well. I hear the music. We're going to take another break. Dominique Sharpton, I'm sitting in for Rev. Y'all call and join in on the conversation. We got a lot to talk about and want to hear from you. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there and act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're going to have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, But I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm going to keep marching. I'm going to keep agitating. And I'm going to keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time. Mariah, Chris, and your kids. And I promise you this, the only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again.
I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. Just wait. I believe that.
Good morning, everybody. I hope the coffee has kicked in by now. I want to start by thanking your leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton, and everyone at the National Action Network for 35 years of standing up for civil rights and opportunity for everyone.
And I couldn't be more grateful for the way that you have blessed the lives of so many, including mine.
As we look today on King Day, let us not forget that we had to struggle to even have this day. They did not wake up one morning and say, let's give a federal holiday to Martin Luther King. People petitioned, people marched. Let us remember now as we bring our children and grandchildren up the Potomac, that they can see the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, and one memorial that never served as president, but changed this country more than any other American, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
This was an amazing MLK breakfast.
It is truly an honor, and more importantly, this is an important day for us.
I feel incredibly lucky and honored to be in this room on this day, celebrating Dr. King's legacy of civil rights, especially in the moment that we're facing on a national level. It feels like warmth and home being in this room.
So I'm encouraged by today. I'm encouraged that we're getting out, we're protesting, but more needs to be done. We need to lean in.
And let's keep fighting because the job is not done here. And I just feel so honored to get this award. It's not about getting an award, it's about doing the work. And let's keep up with the work.
Robert Culp used to do a show with Bill Cosby, I Spy, and he did a documentary on breadbasket, Robert Culp.
Oh, wow.
You need to see that documentary. It's great.
Absolutely.
I I lived this. I didn't read this. I lived it. I was there.
You true to this?
I'm true to this.
Not new to this.
I ain't new to this.
Vote to phone Troy.
He was, Jack Odell was one of the guys that Kennedy warned Dr. King about. Say he was a communist. Okay. Wow. Jack Odell and Stanley Levinson. And Reverend brought him in. Nobody else in the movement would deal with Jack. Reverend brought him in. Oh yeah. Sure. Just us.
Just us.
But there's stories behind all of it. It didn't just happen.
But I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be in jail, but I am somebody. I may be an educator, but I am somebody. Beautiful, proud. I must be respected. I must be protected. I am somebody.
Come today. I see the Reverend Jesse Jackson is here. Lord, we thank you for the Reverend Jesse Jackson. I see the Honorable Maxine Waters is here. We thank for Maxine Waters. You see the Reverend Sharpton is here. We thank
Voting rights.
Everyone look here.
Say it again, Miss Pearl. Voting rights. Voting rights. One more time, Miss Pearl.
Voting rights.
There we go. Voting rights.
Voting rights.
Voting rights.
Voting rights.
Voting rights.
When do we want it?
Now. When do we need it?
Now.
Yesterday.
What do we want?
Voting rights.
When do we need it?
Now.
What do we want?
Voting rights.
When do we need it?
Now.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. We are in critical times. Healthcare premiums are going up, oil and gas going up, all kinds of things that are costing us what we are comfortable to or what we were getting by. That's why I am asking you to be at the National Action Network Convention, where we're going to have leading political figures, leading civil rights leaders, leading activists, leading faith leaders, leading youth activists convene at the National Action Network Convention, April the 8th through the 11th, where we are going to strategize, hear the plenary sessions, question, and come out with how we back up this whole retrenchment of our rights and our ability to live. It's not just about rhetoric. It's about a strategy and get results. That's why we in National Action Network have always been on the front line, and we need you with us more now than ever. To register, all of our sessions are free. All of our sessions are free. To register, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net or call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651. Don't worry about how tough they are. Worry about how tough we must become. We never had a victory without a fight. It's time to strategize and fight back. Around this is so wicked. Now they're going to, they released last night a memo that said that the FBI was investigating good. They're trying to come up with something on the victim. Not they gonna investigate who shot her. The ICE agent shooting in the head 3 times. They're gonna investigate her. And you wonder why we need movements. You wonder why we need to stand up. Hakeem Jeffries was here Monday. Why we need to deal with this big Midterm
I'm
election.
Dominique Sharpton, Reverend Sharpton's eldest daughter, sitting in for the Rev today. Rev is traveling, but I'm sitting in the hot seat, taking your calls across the country as we've got a lot to talk about and certainly got a lot to mobilize around and got a lot to do and got to stay involved in the action. You can join in on the conversation by calling us today at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can, of course, join us on the message board as people are watching us via live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. Got a lot to deal with, and certainly as we have been talking about some of the issues of today, I was talking to you earlier about how today is Wellness Wednesday, and I have adopted that phrase as I got off the elevator and a gentleman greeted me and said, Happy Wellness Wednesday. So happy Wellness Wednesday to all of you. And certainly I want to, of course, speak now to a sister that I know very well and who is going to talk a little bit about wellness in this and today as we are gearing up, of course, for a very important forum that's happening in New York. And I want her to join us now and talk a little bit about that. Denora Katachu, who is the president of the Greater New York chapter of the Links Incorporated. Good afternoon, Denora. You are keeping it real, girl.
Excited to be keeping it real, and thanks for having me on today, Dominique, to talk on this Wellness Wednesday. I started my morning, just to note, 6:45 a.m. this morning, talking on a local college campus radio about Wellness Wednesday, so I'm keeping it going.
All right.
And I'm glad to be here with you today to keep it real about what's at stake for Black people and our wellness.
All right. Tell us a little bit about what's going on this weekend. I know that a lot of people are, preparing as the spring weather is trying to peek out on us. I'm sitting here dealing with sinuses and all kind of things because it's like, what is going on with the weather? It's like 30 degrees one day and then 70 the next. And so I am battling the battles over here with my sinus issues. But certainly as people, as the weather is peaking warmer and people are starting to get outside more and do things more outdoors and want to be more active. It seems like, we have a large contingency of people that start getting more active right when the weather gets warmer. And so there is a family expo that's coming up this weekend. I know that's happening indoors, but it's happening in the village of Harlem, New York. And I know that you are one of the conveners of this event. Please tell us a little bit about it and how we can participate and support.
Well, thank you again for having me on Keeping It Real on this Wellness Wednesday. And what I would say to you all and all their listeners is, in fact, it is happening in the village of Harlem. It is called the Black Family Wellness Expo. It is taking place this Saturday, March 21st, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Abyssinian Baptist Church's Dr. Calvin O. Butts III Educational and Cultural Center. Right there in the village of Harlem, next to that historic church, they're opening its doors publicly, I think, for one of the first times. I feel like we're getting the inside track thanks to some of our members who are the Greater New York chapter's members who are members of that historic and iconic church who helped us get in there, including Alexis Thomas and Vicki James and Olga Davis and Jerry Warren Merrick, among others. We are going to have an opportunity to come to the Dr. Calvin O. Butts III Educational and Cultural Center for this Black Family Wellness Expo. It is free and open to all in our community. It is a vital health information, screening, and community resource event. But in the interest of wellness, we will also have meditation and yoga. We'll have free lunch. We're going to have a food pantry where we can give away food to those who need it, life-saving healthcare screenings, and just a jam-packed day where we're going to be able to help our community because we know that Black health is generational wealth. What's exciting about this, Dominique, is that it's happening here in Harlem, and we have the Greater New York chapter of the Links Incorporated as well as the Metro Manhattan chapter of the Links Incorporated partnering on this. But it's also happening around the country. And so the Links Incorporated has over 300 chapters. I want to say, if I'm getting my count right these days, 303 chapters around the country and in the United Kingdom. And we will all be, or almost all of us will be holding this National Day of Service focused on health. It'll be, that a Black Family Wellness Expo or a Health Expo or Community Wellness Expo coming to a community near you. And so I hope your listeners will check, find the local Links chapter in their community and tap into those wellness expos, because we know that we have an important and vital responsibility as the leading women's service organization for Black women and women of African ancestry to do our part to help our community, especially in this moment. When our communities need us, we are under attack in every way possible, where resources are being cut. And so I hope for those of your listeners who are in Harlem, they're going to come to the Dr. Calvin O. Butts III Educational and Cultural Center. And for those who are in other markets, they'll find their local links chapter and plug in there.
Denora, can you tell us briefly, like, some of the things that we can experience at a Black Health Expo across the country in various cities? Are there going to be health screenings? Are we talking specifically about targeting specific issues that people of color are dealing with in terms of health disparities from diabetes to hypertension, you name it? I mean, we are dealing with it, right? And so are we going to really pinpoint some of those issues and how we can become not only advocates, broader advocates of these issues we're dealing with, but of course, as it hits home for us. So, we have family members, mothers, fathers, cousins, or even ourselves that could be dealing with health challenges, and we feel as if, we don't have a lot of support as things are, a lot of disparities in health is going on now across the country. So what do you say to that, and how will the links help to address these things in the Black expos across the country?
You nailed it, right? That's the whole point of why we are having the Black Family Wellness Expos, or the Health Expos as they come to communities near you, is that our community has always lagged behind and has health indicators that mean that we need greater access to education, to treatment, to services, to health insurance to provide us with the support we need to take care of our health, right? So you name it as it relates to heart disease, hypertension, sexually transmitted infections and diseases, mammographies, heart disease, everything, right? Our community lags behind in so many ways. And so this Health Expo was really an opportunity both to educate our community directly about what's at stake and how to take care of their health. So there'll be informative panels with health experts talking about how do you spot and treat yourself, right? So you have to be your own healthcare first responder. As we say in New York City, if you see something, say something so that you get the support, the healthcare access you need. But we're not going to bore you with just talks, right? So we also have providers on site who are going to be able to provide vital screenings, whether it relates to, a mammography van that will come from Mount Sinai to provide mammograms for women on site, right? Because let's remember, us women, we are taking care of the whole family. And so often we forget to take care of ourselves. And if we're a woman of a certain age, we forget that you're supposed to get that mammogram every year. And so the truck will be there to provide women who need it with that mammogram. So we can just take that minute to focus on that minute. It's going to take a few minutes, ladies, but to get the help we need. So we'll have the mammography van on site. We'll have screening for PIs. We'll have representatives there from the Alzheimer's Association to inform us about how to take care of our mind and make sure we see the warning signs for when we might be facing dementia or Alzheimer's specifically. There'll be screenings for heart disease and diabetes. And so that's just, some of the things that individuals who attend our specific Health Expo at the Dr. Calvin O. Butts III Educational and Cultural Center will experience. But you'll see similar types of offerings and screenings at these health expos around the country. What's important to know in this moment is that we also need access. Our community needs access to benefits, right, and to food as we face huge food insecurity and food disparities, and we face the cuts at the national level to SNAP benefits, and we face the new requirements that are associated with work requirements for those who are trying to access SNAP benefits. And so we will be educating our community about that and helping to get individuals signed up for the resources they need. We also know that sometimes the economic barrier facing us going to the doctor and taking care of ourselves is that we don't actually have the financial means to get on the subway, to just go get the testing. And so we will be providing Omni cards. And so we'll be providing Omni cards to our community. So, that's the replacement. I'm a woman of a certain age who's a diehard New Yorker. I grew up with a token, and then there were Metro cards. Now the Omni card, ladies and gentlemen, listeners out there, is our, latest version of how you access transit benefits in New York City. And so we'll be providing Omni cards so that once you leave the health fair and you've gotten all the information you need, you can go to the doctor to get that additional follow-up or get that care. We know our communities, like I said, are facing food insecurity. So we will have providing a healthy lunch on site, but we will also be providing food pantry services for those who need it, right? So there will be food that people can take with them. This is the whole generation. So intergenerational fair, we want you to show up. We want you to bring your children. There will be fun giveaways and prizes and excitement to keep the whole family engaged, right? So while mom is getting that mammogram, we will have people on site to help take care of young people, to help make sure that the mom can get the support and resources she needs. We'll keep our young people engaged. We're going to be giving away diapers in our community because we know that our community sometimes can struggle with that as they face the threats that come to us, or the rising cost of diapers and what we need in our communities. And so you come to the health fair, we will have what you need to get your whole self well. And one little plug I'll put in is that we're also going to have meditation and yoga, because sometimes our community, because we're so under attack and we're moving fast, we don't take that moment to calm ourselves and center ourselves. And so we will also be offering what we need to get our minds right, so that we can actually understand how to tap into the generational wealth and health that we're offering at the expo this Saturday.
Very good. And tell us quickly why the work of the Links Incorporated matters in this moment.
So for your listeners out there, the Links Incorporated, like I said, is the premier women's service organization for women of African ancestry and African American women. We have over 17,000 members across the country. And we have been, and almost for 80 years now, continuing to respond to and provide the vital community engagement support that our community needs across the nation. And we will continue to do that. We know that our community and the community writ large, needs access to educational services, to mentoring for young people, to scholarships, which our chapter gives out many every year, to programming for our seniors, to programming to support the international community. You name it, the Links Incorporated has been at the forefront of providing community service and volunteerism, as well as being the premier friendship and service organization. And so we will continue to do that, because if we don't provide for our community in this moment, no one else will. And so that's me keeping it real.
Thank you so much, Denora Katachu from the Greater New York chapter of the Links Incorporated. Saturday, we look forward to seeing y'all there. For those of you who are in the New York City area, join us at the Black Family Wellness Expo at the Abyssinia Baptist Church, starting at 11 o'clock a.m. We've got that information for you up there on the screens, and want all of you to join us. Thank you so much, Denora. Taking your calls across the country. You can join in on the conversation. We're getting back into it, keeping it real. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Keep it real with me, y'all. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton right after this.
Breaking.
We have a young man in the studio who I think is an astounding young brother because of his youth. He's only 19 years old, and he's accomplished a lot, and he's here to make a presentation to James Brown, and we'd like to welcome him warmly. His name is Al Sharpton. How about it for Al Sharpton? Al is the National Director of the National Youth Movement Incorporated. Right, Al?
That's right.
And what do we have here?
Well, we come to break tradition. We know that in the recording industry that they give a gold record to those that achieve a million seller. But we view your million seller payback as a black record because it is relevant and says many of the things that young blacks have tried to say and could not musically express in our own little way. And we feel the payback is sort of like the theme song of Young Black America in 1974. Yeah.
Now, before you go into the title tune of your latest album, you have a special guest.
Yeah, I do have a special guest, a young lady.
That's going to perform with you?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Reverend Al Sharpton, inviting you to be at the National Action Network National Convention with faith leaders, political leaders, where we plan our civil rights strategy. It is April the 8th through the 11th at the Sheraton, New York. It's free. Call 1-877-626-4651 or go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and register now before we have to close down. I'll see you.
Reverend Sharpton, how do we begin to make peace with our past?
I don't think it's our obligation to make peace with our past. I think it's our obligation to learn from our past and to understand that soon we gonna be the past. I mean, a lot of us act like we gonna be permanent and that the past is the past. If we draw on the strengths of the past and uphold the dignity and the integrity of our people and then perform it at our highest level in our generation, as Dr. Moss said, that's our obligation. You know, one of the reasons that I've been so concerned about this cultural tone that we're in now is a lot of us have lost the dignity that our community has shown from Jamestown to now. I've questioned some of the artists that no longer sing to uplift us. And there's never been a generation that didn't use our music and our culture to lift us up. And the excuse is where they say, well, we just want to show what's there. But we never just accepted what was there. We always looked at what was there and looked through it and brought our people the way it needed to be. So in slavery time, we were singing Go Down Moses and Swing Low Sweet Chariot. We wasn't singing about the cotton picking nigga in the field. That's what we saw, but that's not what we sang. In slavery, in segregation time, we were singing We Shall Overcome. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We wasn't singing the hoe in the back of the bus. So where is this coming from? And that's what we need to challenge. I wish, all of this about our friend Barack announcing today, I wish Obama had announced here. Because Lincoln did not free us. The abolitionist movement freed us. Lincoln accommodated to freedom fighters. He was not a freedom fighter. Kennedy accommodated the king. Johnson accommodated the king. We got to quit giving the wrong people credit for our history. Look at Iran, look at what's going on in Minnesota, look on. Yeah, but I was raised by them to realize that after storms, if we do the right thing in the storm, if we organize, if we register, if we do what we're supposed to do, there's always a rainbow coming out. The rainbow don't show until the storm is over. The rainbow gonna come out in November. The rainbow gonna come out in 28. We're gonna fix these tricks in 26 and march through the gates in 28. We didn't come this far to turn around now. We won't go back. We won't go back. We won't go back.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive on tomorrow night and beyond.
Young America, hold your head high now. We can win. You must never stop dreaming. Face reality, yes, but don't stop with the way things are. Dream of things as they ought to be. Dream. Face pain, but love, hope, faith, and dreams will help you rise above the pain. Use hope and imagination as weapons of survival and progress, but you keep on dreaming, young America. Dream of peace. Peace is rational and reasonable. War is irrational in this age and unwinnable. Dream of teachers who teach for life and not for living. Dream of doctors who are concerned more about public health than private wealth. Dream of lawyers more concerned about justice and judgeship.
Keeping it real. I'm Dominique Sharpton, Reverend Sharpton's daughter, sitting in for the Rev today. Rev is traveling on his way to Houston, Texas, where he will be convening with legislators on this evening let me tell y'all what's going on with the Rev. I didn't tell y'all what's going on the Rev. Rev is convening with faith and community leaders in Houston, Texas for a conversation on leadership, civic engagement, and the future of democracy. So he'll be in Houston, Texas on today, where he will be joined by Commissioner Rodney Ellis, Bishop James Dixon, founder and senior pastor of the Community of Faith Church, the Honorable Ron Reynolds, state representative in Texas from District 27, and so many others will be joining. They're having a very important conversation on our democracy and the future of our democracy on today. And they are going to literally also be talking about, in light of the legacy of the late, great Jesse Louis Jackson Sr., and so that is happening on tonight in Houston, Texas, and Reverend Sharpton is on his way to Houston. But I'm sitting in the hot seat in New York City, taking your calls, taking your comments today, because we've got a lot to deal with and a lot to talk about and need to stay involved in the action. And so you can call in on the conversation, join the conversation, join the discussion today by calling us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can join us, join our illustrious message board of those who are watching us via live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. Saint 6744, good afternoon to you, and God bless you and your family. Thank you for your well wishes and support. Thank you so much. We heard before the break, as we are talking on this Wellness Wednesday, I'm naming it Wellness Wednesday, as we're talking on this Wellness Wednesday, talking about as we were dealing with some of the health disparities and talking about some of the health disparities that especially lie within, of course, the Black and Brown communities and things that we're dealing with across the country from various communities and things that we are having to confront as it relates to our health and our wellness. And so those of you who were listening, we were joined, of course, by members of the Links Incorporated, who is starting this national initiative to hold family wellness expos across the country to deal with the challenges and health disparities that we are dealing with across the board. And so those of you who are in New York, you got the information to come out and join us on Saturday at Abyssinian Baptist Church from 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock. I'm trying to look for that address. 150 West 138th Street in New York. And for those of you who are looking elsewhere to join or participate in a wellness event near you, you can also tap into the Links Incorporated and find out the information that's coming in your community. But we want to be involved and take advantage, take opportunity as the opportunity presents itself with these free wellness expos. So get yourself and your families involved in finding out when the next expo, health and wellness expo, is coming to a city or community near you, and let's all tap in and get well, be well together. We're going back to the phones and want to talk to you and hear from you, take your comments, and also hear your analysis and what's going on. 1-877-532-5797, 5797. Disco Brian, I see you holding on listening to us from Philadelphia. Well, you're keeping it real. Good afternoon, Disco Brian.
It is always an honor to behold your presence and to speak with you, Miss Sharpton. And last time we spoke, I shared with you my hope and vision that Jasmine Crockett would be the Democratic nominee for the Senate in Texas and would be throwing those democracy parties all over the state with major hit makers in tow. And even though that vision was vanquished, I am still keeping hope alive and looking forward to attending my first NAN convention in April. Hey,
I'm excited for you, Disco Brian. I have to say, I'm excited for you, and more so, I'm importantly excited to meet you because I have spoken with you so many times, and so it is going to be a pleasure to really meet you in person. I always talk about you, so thank you so much. I'm glad that you made that commitment to join us in person this year.
You're absolutely melting my heart, and it'll be even better for you to see how lucky I am to have been gifted by God a beautiful wife who will be with me. So that'll be wonderful too. Anyhow, I was honored to interview our Pennsylvania State Senator Sharif Street, who is running for Congress here in the 3rd District last week, and I'll be uploading our amazing conversation I had with one of the most, the most down-to-earth people I've ever met, politician or otherwise. And I asked him for an interview at an event he had, and he instantly, I'm a nobody, and he said, "Of course I'll do it." And so it was amazing, and I'm almost done editing it, and we'll be uploading it soon for those listening in Philly who want to hear.
You don't want to
more
tell us who it is
from him.
It's okay.
I don't want to give away too much.
I got you.
But what I wanted to ask you about, and this ties into the question of health, mental health, namely.
Well, hold that question. I hear that music, so I'm going to hold you over the break. Dominique Sharpton, join us. Join Disco Brian and me. We're taking your calls, 1-877-532-5797. We'll be back, y'all, with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talents in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones. And too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I help formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advise you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
London, yeah. We've got many problems there. We need you over our side. Yeah, you're invited anytime, please. Whenever you want to come.
There we go.
Guys! What's up, Doc?
So we are in not a political dilemma, we are in a moral dilemma. And if the black church does not come with a prophetic voice, then who's going to do it? We can go through all the data, all the statistics, all we're going through in the workshops, but the question is, where is the action going to be? We all believe in Jesus. Jesus didn't teach theology, he healed people. And they learned the nature of the theology based on his healing. We got to heal this nation. And if we heal this nation, the nation will return to our churches. But we've become silent and compromised. And we try to blame it on, I'm not in this. You are in this. You live it, your members live it. Unemployment now is higher now than it's been since the pandemic. Yet we survive.
Yes, sir.
There's no history in the world of any people that went through the kind of psychological, cultural, and physical slavery like blacks did in America. The only reason we're still here is because of our faith. We had no external strength. We had an internal strength. And it was the God that we were taught by our mamas and grandmamas that brought us through. And I don't care who's sitting in the White House, we cannot betray the God that brought us through.
You're live.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm Dominique Sharpton, Reverend Sharpton's eldest daughter, sitting in for him today. Rev is in Houston. I'm in New York in the hot seat taking your calls. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. I was talking before the break with Disco Brian. You still there, Disco Brian from Philadelphia?
Indeed.
All right.
I am still here and honored to be here still. Shout out, by the way, Ms. Sharpton, to the excellent James Thomas on the message board, who just called today's show Warrior Witness Wednesday. How beautiful is that alliteration?
Warrior Witness Wednesday. And we got to stick in wellness somewhere in there because we've been talking a lot about wellness. So I hope that y'all, I hope that it's, you know, it's invigorating for you as it is for me, no? Okay.
Wellness to the warriors who witnessed Wednesday. Yeah, I love this. So, Ms. Sharpton, anyway, I was talking about my interview with the amazing Pennsylvania State Senator Sharice Street running for the Congress here in the 3rd District. And in our conversation last week, which, again, I will be uploading to my YouTube page, Disco Brian Davis, very soon, I raised many things with him. And, you know, as a white Gentile who's trying to do everything in my power to make the civil rights movement the centerpiece of the Democratic Party agenda, you know, I look back. I don't know if you ever do this. I look back on my interview and I'm like, wow, I could have asked that question better, and cringe a little bit. But I think, you know, India Ari, before she took her music off of Spotify, had this great interview with Trevor Noah where she talked about how she had wished that Joe Rogan would invite people like her onto his show and to allow conversations to be messy. And and of course he's a coward. He's a coward, and he never did that, and has had on you know, Elon Musk 7 times since then or something. I mean, so, you know, he just wants to stay in his little racist, you know, echo chamber. But I raised a concern with Senator Street that I'd like to get your feelings on. I feel like Democrats need to do a much better job of pushing back against disinformation and bad faith actors, even and especially when they have millions of followers online. And Dominique, the bad faith actors, a lot of times Democrats see them only on the right, but I'm seeing more and more of them on the left. Graham Plattner being a beautiful example of a terrible candidate with the Nazi tattoos and the racist history of posting things on Reddit which are misogynistic, homophobic, and racist. And it pains me to see public figures who profess to be on our side and profess to be aligned with democracy and civil rights going on to shows which have so normalized bigotry and ignorance. Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn on the right, and Hassan Piker on the left, only to fawn over those hosts. Tallarico told Rogan that it was an honor to be on his show, and called his show, which again has had Elon Musk as one of its most regular guests, called the Joe Rogan Experience while on it for 3 hours last summer a model for democratic discourse. So what I want to ask you, Dominique, is do you think that we, as creators or as politicians, can defeat the disinformers by going on their shows and cozying up to them, or by creating content, or are tables completely stacked against us, and should we be demanding Democrats do something legislatively to combat this barrage of vomit? And I'd love to hear your answer on that. And thank you.
I mean, so it's different for me, Disco Brian. I get what you're saying, and I'm there with you, right? But I feel like it's hard for a lot of us to really deal with that head on, because we're dealing with reality of the fact that, you know, we have seniors that are coming to our House of Justice asking, you know, for help with, you know, the fact that they can't afford their prescription medication anymore. We have young people that come to huddle on Monday evenings who are hungry, have not been fed dinner. So we're dealing with like an immediate crisis, I feel like, in our community. And so, like, I hear what you're talking about. The talking heads need to be addressed and all that. But when you're dealing on reality on the ground of people that really just need help, people really just need support, they really just need you to be there for them. They don't care what these people are talking about on, you know, their platforms with millions of people. That's just, is not resonating with some of these people. It's just like, you know, there are lanes for everybody. So I feel like people like you should get on and go toe to toe with these people, you know, while I'm on the ground trying to deal with, you know, making sure that, you know, that Auntie Leslie has her prescription medication for the month, and making sure, you know, that these young people that come through the doors are fed and they have access and opportunities to tech and to healthcare and to education and to all of that. And so there are levels to this, right? To this advocacy work. And yes, I feel like you talked about the Democratic Party. I feel like the Democratic Party can do more to really deal with and combat a lot of the disinformation that is going out there, because that is definitely a thing, and it is definitely stifling a lot of people in terms of our mindsets to be actively involved, because we are getting so much information from so many different sources, right? And if you see someone that has millions of followers, they seem like a credible person to want to, you know, to want to engage with, but that's not necessarily always the case. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people that are out there just hustling and dealing, you know, and trying to have just platforms where they can be seen as opposed to really doing the work. And so I'm really more concerned with engaging with people and connecting with people who are doing the work. Now, the Democratic Party has a lot of work to do, right? Let's not like lose sight of that part, right? But at the end of the day, I also, right? They do. We got a lot of work to do. But I feel like we need to really pool our resources and really dealing with the needs of the people that that we are servicing, number one, and then, you know, coupling that with, of course, what we can do on a larger scheme to really push forward in terms of not only legislation, but in terms of how our constituents in our community are showing up and being well fed spiritually, physically, mentally. And I feel like that is, you know, what we need to really put our focus on. And that does mean, you know, making sure that there are, you know, better candidates who are, you know, who are stepping up to the forefront to run for office, right? In order to lead us. That means, you know, making sure that the information is reaching all of our communities and where people are voting, not just some of them where, you know, we feel like we can get the best deals, or we feel like, you know, the best resources can come from opportunities. But we need to really reach, you know, deeper, I feel, in terms of where we are servicing our power and our resources. And I feel like if we can continue to do that, or even develop a collective strategy on what that looks like, I think that we'll get a lot further than where we are.
Wow. To quote Prince, you just went around the world in a day, Dominique, and I love it. And your father says we all have a role, and I just feel like, you know, I guess my role, I appreciate.
Well, maybe this is your role. Maybe this is your role, Disco Brian, and I'm not saying, you know, I'm here with you. I can play dual roles, right? So I'm here with you.
I love it.
But I feel like we all have a role, and I just don't want us to miss that component of the conversation.
Amen.
Now, we all have different things that we can do, different skill sets and different commitments but we all need to come together and discuss what that looks like, right? That's a part of the strategy and the plan. So I feel like maybe you have your assignment. I got my assignment. Reverend Ramsey on there got hers. You know, we all got our assignments to do, and we've got to really develop what that looks like collectively and make sure that we are really being able to disseminate ourselves, you know, to reach everyone.
I cannot wait to be in fellowship with you and your beautiful community in April. And I can't believe you said all of that ad lib without reading it. You are.
What?
Wow. Your father is. The torch has already been passed, and you are. I just can't wait to see you blossom and continue to shine and dominate. And maybe I hope you run for something one day. But anyway, I don't want to put that on you. Anyway, bless you.
Let's not do
I
that.
know. I feel it. I know. I hear you. Thank you.
Bless you
Thank
too,
you,
and
Ms.
thank
Sharpton.
you for continuing to step up and to advocate, and thank you, of course, for keeping it real. I want to see more people stepping up like Disco Brian. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate your support and your encouragement, and I appreciate you coming on and keeping it real. We're taking your calls across the country. You can join in on the conversation as we continue today. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. To answer your question, a Diamond District Foundation, we have a lot of leaders in California, from Jonathan Mosley to our Sacramento leader, to Coy Porter. So if you go onto our website, nationalactionnetwork.net, I don't know what area you are definitely looking for, but we definitely have a myriad of different leaders and chapters that are developing and have been developed for quite some time in the state of California. And we invite you to, of course, tune in and get involved in the action there. Dominique Sharpton, again, I'm sitting in for the Rev, taking your calls, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. I hear that music, so we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
It's been a long time coming, but I'm
1968, Dr. Martin King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
I have a dream today.
When they came for the dream.
Hi, it's Reverend Al Sharpton, President and founder of National Action Network. We are at the very end of 2025, and I want to first say that I want to thank all of the officers, chapter leaders, regional directors, national staff, and certainly National Board of National Action Network for a solid and absolutely incredible year in 2025. Despite the fact that we are under assault, voting rights, diversity, equity, and inclusion, the battles globally where we're seeing Nigeria and Venezuela attacked, and on and on and on. We have been steadfast as an activist organization in the tradition of Dr. King. We started the year with a national call that thousands responded to, and we were in Washington on our side of town while Trump was being inaugurated on the other side of town. And we made a pledge. We told people to lift their hand and make the pledge. And we kept that pledge to work all year to keep the dream alive. And that led into when Trump went after DEI. We supported some that were boycotting, and we started boycotting, something that had never happened. We said we're going to go buy from those that have committed to keep DEI, and went in several cities around Costco's and Sharpton. We've now bought stock in other companies. We're going to shareholder meeting and demand they continue DEI. We've had a sensational national action at a convention covering the span of activity, from political empowerment to education, to how we deal with the black church, how we deal with black women development that has to deal with both discrimination based on gender and race. And of course, we came to Wall Street by the thousands and marched in late summer on the anniversary of the March on Washington. And people thought you could not get people out, and they came from all over the country. And we marched on Wall Street and had an enormous turnout. The only mass black march, black-led march this year. We had a lot of protests, a lot of marches. I salute all No Kings marches and all. But the black called Black Organization March, it welcomed everybody. We had white, black, everybody there. Was our march on Wall Street in August. And then our Triumph Award, and on into our fall agenda of organizing, mobilizing. We've expanded. We've started chapters in about 12 new cities. So I am proud of what we've done this year, but it's only the beginning, because our very rights are under attack, and they're not even being quiet about it. They want to revoke the Voting Rights Act. Section 2 may fall with this bill. They want to end the Civil Rights Act of 64. That's what the end of DEI is about. So let us be more alert and active than ever. History will decide whether the civil rights gains of the 50s and 60s died in the 2020s. That's on your watch and mine. So if we've got to march, we have to protest, we have to lobby, and we have to rally, whatever we need to do, we need to put our shoulder to the wheel more than ever. I'm going to lay out a plan on King Day, both in Harlem at our annual event and in Washington at our annual Martin Luther King Day breakfast that we do in D.C., we two cities that day. And then, of course, all roads lead to New York to April for our convention. We had, as I said, the largest attended convention last year in 2025. It needs to be more this year because our very existence is at stake. We also are closing our negotiations on a new headquarters, our national headquarters that befit our mission. I'm so excited about it, but I can't give you details. We're just about ready to sign the contract, but it will be something that will last longer than many of our lifetimes. So we came alive in 25, despite a hostile administration, despite the fact that a lot of people were intimidated and spooked into silence. We came alive in 25. Now we have to straighten out tricks in 26. I need you, we need each other. Let's do this. All these tricks, don't forget, Trump only won by 1.5%. He is trying to act like he has a mandate. No, he has a mission, Project 2025. We have the mandate that we can't let them undo what has been done. And we must even go further for the empowerment of all people. Happy New Year, and be focused. I thank God I was blessed to have both in my life, both historic, strong figures. But if I misuse them and listen to not only figures that are not as historic as them, but figures that had nothing to do with the calling and purpose of my life, I would live confused. I'd be double-minded. I'm clear. And what I want you to do is be clear. Clear on who you are, why you are. And a lot of that will be exposed to you and others by who you are around and who you allow to enter your head. Keep people at a distance that only have a distant and unclear vision of who you are and who you are supposed to be. They could be your blood relatives, but they could not be the ones that accompany you toward what you ought to be about tonight. Everybody good to you ain't good for you. Everybody that makes you laugh sometimes end up making you a joke.
I remember I was 12 years old. I was a boy preacher in the Church of God in Christ. Bishop Shedd knew my bishop, Bishop Washington. Bishop Washington, my mother was concerned I was getting into politics. They brought us to Reverend William Jones. His daughter's traveling with us. And Reverend Jones introduced me to Jesse Jackson. I became his youth director in New York at 13. I liked Reverend Jackson because he was a little hipper than the older preachers. He was 27, I was 13 by the time I became youth director. So he was like a father figure to me. When I got about 40, he said, quit calling me father, call me big brother. We went to the car center. And James Meeks and Jesse Jr. and I had dinner with him that night. And that's where he said, Al, Meeks, Jesse Jr., y'all were my disciples. And we said, disciples? And for years we joked each other. I'd come in the room and Junior said, here's disciple number one. What discipleship meant you carried for the vision. The next day, he took me on the ferry to Goree Island, Mrs. Jackson. On Goree Island, he showed me where the slave camps were. And I will never forget, he said, Al, you see what that artifact is? I said, what's that? He said, they call it.
Dominique Sharpton sitting in for Reverend Sharpton today. Rev is traveling to Houston, Texas, but Dominique is sitting in the hot seat, taking your calls across the country. We got a lot to talk about, got a lot to deal with, and of course, got to stay in the action and stay involved. So join in on the conversation today as we are talking about a lot, but we want to hear from you, and you can join us by calling us today at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. You can join us on the message board. The message board is always lit up, and we are so thankful to the message board and those that are watching us via live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. Thank you so much. Let's go back to the phones. I see we have a guest that's on. Who's our guest? Oh, sisters. It just says sisters. What's going on? Who is this?
This is Daughters of the Movement.
Oh, my God.
Daughters of the Movement.
Well. I said sisters. Who is sisters? Good afternoon.
Hello, Dominique. We're here, my friend. We're here, sister.
Hello, sister. So I think these are the Daughters of the Movement. So ladies and gentlemen, we were talking as it is Wellness Wednesday, as I've talked so much about that on today. And I'm grateful to have some of the sisters from my tribe, I call it, to call in today from the Daughters of the Movement. Who we got on today? Good afternoon, sisters, and welcome to Keeping It Real. Who's on?
Well, good afternoon.
I'm Hesna Muhammad, and I'm the daughter of Ossie Davis and Ruby D. And I got my other sister with me, Gina.
Oh.
Hi, I'm Gina Belafonte. I'm the daughter of Harry and Julie Belafonte.
All right now. Who else we got?
How you feeling? Miss Sharpton?
Yeah.
I'm hanging in there. So I'm dealing with some sinus issues, sisters, and I've been telling folks that, I don't know what's going on with this New York weather. Some days it's hot, some days it's cold. But I'm also dealing, of course, it's heating up. Like, we got a lot going on, a lot of issues that are happening around us. And so I'm constantly trying to figure out, how can I, escape to get a moment of solitude, of peace, and in this world where it just seems like we just got to keep going. We have to get up every morning and just go, and do. And so, I'm constantly thinking about, okay, well, did I pray today? Gotta check in. Like, did I work out? Did I eat right? You got to think about all these things, right? And then continue to do the work and continue to keep it going. So I'm thankful for my tribe. Thank y'all for calling in today. I believe we have on Dr. Hasna Muhammad, who, as she stated, is the daughter of Ozzie Davis and Ruby D. We have Gina Belafonte, who is the daughter of the amazing, incredible, iconic Harry Belafonte and Julie Belafonte. We also have Stacey Lynch, who is the daughter of Bill Lynch. And we have Keisha Sutton James, who is the granddaughter of the Honorable Percy Sutton. Sisters, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me. How are you all today? What's going on in your world, and what's going on in terms of how we can, of course, do our part, more actively involved? I know that y'all have been crisscrossing the country. Y'all were in Atlanta. I want to hear about that. I want to hear about what's been going on and how, of course, we can get involved. So who am I kicking it to?
Well, let me say something, if I may. This is Gina Belafonte speaking. Let me say something, if I may. First of all, this sisterhood is a healing space. I encourage all to get a sisterhood, a brotherhood, a community where you can let your hair down, so to speak, and relax. I also want to say that in these times that have given us so much to think about, so much things potentially to fear or to feel impotent about, is the time for you to actually take action and find things that bring you joy. They are trying to bring us down. And I have the great fortune and opportunity to be stepping into a new territory that has been such a gift. I just started last night a tour with Pink Martini. If you don't know them, you better ask somebody. And I am on the stage, and I am exercising a new part of myself. It's exciting. It's a little scary, but it's so joyful. And to be in a community of artists that are all wanting for us to create healthy communities and have people rejoice and find some peace and love in community, I feel so grateful. So I just wanted to say that not only do we have to take care of ourselves physically, but we also have to take care of ourselves emotionally and psychologically. And I'm getting so much joy being on tour with Pink Martini.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
I love that. And we are so proud of you, G. We are so proud that you are out there doing your thing. Congratulations. And you too, Dom. We are proud of you, girl. All of the movement and shaking that you're doing, convening of the community and protecting and doing God's work. Absolutely. I agree with G in terms of taking care of yourself and your emotional well-being, because you can't do this work that needs to be done unless you're strong, unless you put your own oxygen mask on, and you are then able to bring other people in tow. So, we are experiencing another wave of the trauma that not only other people have gone through, but everybody is going through. And it's not even relegated to this country. If you think about the world and the trauma that's happening to the people of the world, to this planet. And the only way I think that we're going to be able to overcome and resist and sustain ourselves as good people is to first take care of ourselves and then take care of each other in terms of the community we were talking about, going to the doctor that, Dom, you were talking about, and then getting out there and doing something that is going to elevate our cause, elevate the urgency of the work that we have to do, and help folks who are younger, at least younger than me, to take on this mantle and pick up the baton. I know, Jean maybe talk about the baton. She was passing about a few weeks ago, but pick up the baton and keep, running with it, moving with it, bringing all kinds of people along. And that's what our Daughters of the Movement, that sisterhood, that's a big path for us to bring on other folks.
Yes. Stacy, can you talk a little bit about Daughters of the Movement, how the sisterhood formed? I know a lot of people are writing on the message board that we are talking with legacy. And so we know that our parents, grandparents, really, broke barriers, right, in the movement from, if they were or are, front leaders in the movement, they were contributors in some kind of way. We know that, even, the legendary himself, Harry Belafonte, wasn't necessarily, the one that was getting up, making the speeches and, and calling the marches, but he was one that was a pivotal influence on, how a lot of the legislation and things that the liberties that we have today, he helped to fight for and helped to make sure that, that we push that forward. And so did Ozzie Davis and Ruby Dee. And so did Bill Lynch. If we're talking about, how he worked to make sure that we elected the first Black mayor in the city of New York, or if we're talking about the Honorable Percy Sutton, there are so many of our parents who worked very vehemently to make sure that we as people of color and we as people of influence, right, knew who we were and believed in ourselves, right, and saw that they accomplished great things, right, and we could do the same. So can you talk a little bit about how the sisterhood was formed? I know we're going to go into break, but we're going to hold y'all for another segment, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Sisters. All right.
Absolutely. First, let me say how much I love you, Dom, and so proud of you. Taking over the dynasty, so to speak, and running this radio show, and you're an award-winning Tony winner. Like, that is huge. And so we love you so much. And as the youngest of this group, the way you show up, right, is just amazing to all of us. And I just want to acknowledge that.
Oh, thank you.
I'll be very quick because, of course, I'll be very quick because I know we have to take a commercial break, but I used to work for a former mayor, and he used to work for my father, right? And, as a staffer in City Hall, particularly a woman and a Black woman, it can be tough. And on top of being a Black woman, folks put a certain amount of pressure on you as a legacy baby, as some people call you, or a political kid, or a Nepo baby, whatever the label they want to put on you or us. And at the end of the day, I am a kind, level human being, just like any audience member that listens to your show. And at that moment in time, I felt like I needed a community, a circle of sisterhood. And I called Keisha Sutton James and said, hey, I feel lonely in this world. And I need to identify with some folks that have common life experiences, but also very grounded. And then I called Gina Belafonte and said the exact same thing. And Gina, I recall you sharing with me that you have felt that as well in certain spaces. And so we started calling each other. I think we called you, we called Suzanne, we called Teshna, and, and the sisterhood grew from that point on. And I haven't regretted that moment, not once. And so I love my sisters dearly.
Love you
Amen.
back. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Keisha,
Thank
I know
you.
that you are, and we're about to go to break, but I know that you are one who is very vocal and, of course, keeping the legacy of your grandfather, the Honorable Percy Sutton, his legacy alive, you know, from, I know that you know, even work to organize a lot of events, you know, in the greater New York area around, you know, really empowering the next generation to be involved, to be active, and to be thought-provoking leaders. And I feel like that is very important. I want to speak to you about, you know, as we are there are so many who are listening to us from across the country who, you know, who feel, you know, that they just don't know how to get involved. They don't know what to do. They don't know, you know, how we find that spiritual groundness in dealing with the everyday things that we're dealing with the issues that we're dealing with. So I want to ask you to speak more about that in terms of, you know, how you found, you know, your purpose through, of course, dealing with and keeping your family's legacy alive. And I hear that break, so we're going to take a break. I'm talking with the Daughters of the Movement, but want to hear from you all. You can join in on the conversation. Got a lot to talk about still, and we still have time to talk about it. Join us, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
Keeping it real.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive on tomorrow night and beyond. Young America, hold your head high now. We can win. You must never stop dreaming. Face reality, yes, but don't stop with the way things are. Dream of things as they ought to be. Dream. Face pain, but love, hope, faith, and dreams will help you rise above the pain. Use hope and imagination as weapons of survival and progress, but you keep on dreaming, young America. Dream of peace. Peace is rational and reasonable. War is irrational in this age and unwinnable. Dream of teachers who teach for life and not for living. Dream of doctors who are concerned more about public health than private wealth. Dream of lawyers more concerned about justice and the judgeship. Dream of preachers who are concerned more about prophecy than profiteering. Dream on the high road with sound values. You must never surrender to inequality.
We have a short visit today, so we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We want to go with gold. Yeah, we was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. That's one of the slave houses.
Sir, it's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine.
Right, last time. And we,
Alexander Shaw. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's when exactly. That was exactly.
I just the two people that most influenced my life were from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road with me. I went over his mother's funeral. Jesse walked me to my mother's casket. From South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James.
Yeah.
Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people from too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And when I knew Jesse was from James, I started Breadback.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about him in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came in January. His daughter swear that was his daddy and him pushing the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told me, you know that my great grandfather was a slave about 45, because Greenville right up to I-20. He said, I told you we was connected. That's why you gotta listen to me. But no. And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Blacks. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight with the courts and the streets, because they're literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they may be at, started in Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, that ACP would have been together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation, then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back in the South. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. We are in critical times. Healthcare premiums are going up, oil and gas going up, all kinds of things that are costing us what we are comfortable to or what we were getting by. That's why I am asking you to be at the National Action Network Convention, where we're going to have leading political figures, leading civil rights leaders, leading activists, leading faith leaders, leading youth activists convene at the National Action Network Convention, April the 8th through the 11th, where we are going to strategize, hear the plenary sessions, question, and come out with how we back up this whole retrenchment of our rights and our ability to live. It's not just about rhetoric, it's about a strategy and get results. That's why we in National Action Network have always been on the front line, and we need you with us more now than ever. To register, all of our sessions are free. All of our sessions are free. To register, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net or call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651. Don't worry about how tough they are. worry about how tough we must become. We never had a victory without a fight. It's time to strategize and fight back.
Rev, you know you were right there
from the beginning
with the stuff that was going on in Brooklyn at that time, at Howard Beach, and you were right there.
He had in one of the early movies, he had my name. Then he put me in Malcolm, and I wasn't even old enough to know Malcolm. We've been through it all.
For those who see Malcolm X, it's 3 hours. But fast forward to the scene you saw Bobby Seale.
You are live.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm Dominique Sharpton, Reverend Sharpton's daughter, sitting in for him today, taking your calls across the country, 1-877-532-5797. We are joined by a Legacy of Sisterhood, an organization that I am very proud to be a part of, and happy that my sisters called in while I was hosting Keeping It Real today. They called in and surprised and said, we gonna take over the last hour with you, Keeping It Real. So I'm blessed and grateful to have members of the Daughters of the Movement who have joined us on Keeping It Real as we are convening on this Wellness Wednesday. Yes, I am coining it. I am putting it out there for Team Muhammad. Every Wednesday, we going to talk a little wellness on Keeping It Real on Wellness Wednesdays. And so I'm blessed and honored to be able to speak with this Legacy of Sisterhood. We are a group of women who sat at the feet of those who were on the front lines of the civil rights movement and certainly carry the oral history, cultural values, and wisdom that was passed down to us by some of the revolutionary leaders who have turned the tide of American history. And so I am happy to be joined now with Dr. Hasna Muhammad, who is the daughter of Ozzie Davis and Ruby Dee. I am also joined by Gina Belafonte, who is the daughter of Harry and Julie Belafonte. I am joined by Stacy Lynch, who is the daughter of Bill Lynch. And I am joined by Keisha Sutton James, who is the granddaughter of the Honorable Percy Sutton. Welcome again, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us. Before the break, Keisha, I was getting to you, talking a little bit about how you have worked personally, of course, in some of the things that you have been doing to really hone and keep the legacy of Percy Sutton alive. I wanted you to talk a little bit about that as we are talking about Wellness Wednesday and talking in the spirit of sisterhood. Y'all better find your tribe out there. Those of you that are listening, find your tribe. I'm happy to have found mine. Keisha, talk to us, please.
First, I can't help but echo some of what my sister said. I'm so proud of you. I love you dearly.
I love you too.
Dom, girl. So Dom is the youngest of the sisters, and she is such a star. And we're just so excited to be here with you and to support you. Of course, I know you dropped a bunch on me. So Wellness Wednesday, I will say I have more than once been taught by God that I need to take care of myself. Let me just share a quick snippet. For a few years, I've been having small medical things like getting the chicken pox in my 40s and getting my finger slammed in the front door of my building, really tearing my finger up, and having a small surgery until those were the whisper, the tap on the shoulder, and the nudge before God said, guess what, Keisha, you're not listening, and that's why I'm going to give you breast cancer. And that really sat me down to listen to my body and listen to what God was telling me. And so I say that to say, because it's Wellness Wednesday, sometimes we, stop listening, and I have been again, working really hard. I was Deputy Manhattan Borough President for the last 4 years. Spent too much time working, not enough time taking care of myself. I'm taking a break right now. I'm seeing all my doctors. I am doing all my physical therapies. I'm getting all my tests. I'm doing all of the things I need to be taking care of. And I will maintain this once I start working again, because we cannot afford not to take care of our physical and mental health in this moment. And for that, I'll say also,
get with your therapist. Not just your tribe, get with your therapist, your acupuncturist, your this, your that, whatever, your church, your community group, whatever, your mosque, whatever you need to stay sane in this moment, go do it. And I say that because one of the quotes that, one of the lessons my grandfather taught me, my grandfather was Percy Ellis Sutton. He was a freedom rider. He was a Tuskegee Airman. He was first black man to run for mayor of New York City. The shoulders on which David Dinkins stood. He was attorney to Malcolm X and the Shabazz family for 40 years. And one of the things that he taught me, there's so many lessons, but one of the lessons that he taught me is to feel the pain. We cannot not feel the pain that we feel, right, as Black people in America. As people who are, as his father referred to us, he said, we are, not just us Black folks, but he said we're the injured of society, which the lesson in that was that society was explicitly injuring certain people and lifting up other people. We are the injured of society. We feel the pain, but we can't let the pain and anger show, because otherwise we are blocking the blessing. And we're unable to think clearly, act strategically, and move forward. So it's about feeling the pain, seeking this community and the services that you need to work through the pain so that you can be as effective as you can and plug in to resist, to fight, and to elevate your community. And I know I've been speaking a long time, but I'll just say, you asked the question also because you did throw multiple questions at me, Don. And so I'm just tracking.
I was thinking you was going, just kind of pinball it to the next sister. I don't know. I was like, go ahead.
I'll keep going. So I'll just say, you plug in whatever way feels natural and most relevant to you. For me personally, lifting up the stories of not just my grandfather, not just the daughter's fathers, but histories of our people it's a way that speaks to me. So it is important to me to lift up our stories and to tell our truths so that we can learn from our truths. It's also important for me to be a connector. So if it is that you are involved in some community organization, you can connect some young person to some other well-established person or even more established, doesn't even have to be well-established, somebody who's a little more established than the young person is. However it is that you can plug in, that's at your fingertips and feels natural for you, get plugged in. Just start a Googling if you don't know what the organization is. And this is something we did last week. We were down at Morehouse College. We have been building out a bit of a tour, speaking at different
Morehouse in Atlanta.
Morehouse in Atlanta. So we were down there it was myself and Hesna, who's on the line, and Gina, who's on the line, and Suzanne Kay, our sister, who is Diane Carroll's daughter. And we talked to the young men about all these things plus more. We're looking to book some more. We'll be having more information about all of our speaking up on our website. But that is one of the things that, feeds us personally, individually, and as a group to speak to young people about the lessons that we learned so that we can lay out the blueprint and point out the pitfalls, and hopefully people can carry those with them and not fall into the pitfalls and learn from the lessons.
I love that.
Is that helpful?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You asked me a lot.
You did that. You did that. Stacey, did you want to chime in?
I mean, one thing I want to say about self-care, and then I'm going to throw the ball to Gina, because I know Gina's also on a tour and very busy right now. But pay attention to your nervous system, right? And that took me some time to realize, like, you're always on the go. And I worked for a former mayor, and I worked for, I still work for a governor, right? But I pour myself into those people and doing the good public work that you forget about yourself. And your nervous system, if it's running 1,000 miles per hour, it's also telling you to slow down, right? And the important things for me in terms of slowing down is finding your tribe, that good community. I believe in exercise. and I go to acupuncture.
Oh, come on, Stacey.
At least,
that's the thing. I don't like to work out. What about the people like me that just don't? I don't like to work out. And my dad, you know, he does it. He's lost so much weight. Y'all, people are talking about, oh, how did Reverend Al do it? He literally put his mind to it and say, I'm not going to put that fried chicken in my mouth no more. I'm going to eat salad instead, and I'm going to work out 7 days a week. He does not take one day off.
I know, but listen.
How do you do it?
How do I do it?
Go ahead, Stacey.
Walking is a good exercise.
You think about your son. That's how you do it. I'm sorry, Stacey. I'm stepping on your toes. You think about your son.
Right.
You think about your family. Because your health is not just about you and how you feel. It's about your family. Your son needs you to be around for a long time. And it's a fact. Not only do you have to take care of your nervous system, you got to take care of your digestive system and your movement system. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about physical movement. When you love on your son and you think about all the things you want to give to your son, you want to give him a healthy mama who's going to be around for him for a long time. I sit down, Stacey, I'm sorry I interrupted you, girl. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, the spirit moves you, sister. So jump in. But I mean, listen, I and that is an example of why I love this sisterhood so much, right? I'll say two more things, and then I will open the floor to my other sisters. Hesna's going to teach me how to swim, right?
Yeah.
And I've been terrified of swimming because probably of just the historical context there, right? And some other trauma.
I remember trying to get you to float. I remember trying to get you to float in Puerto Rico.
That's deep.
Tell them, G. And I was trembling and
you to float.
Terrified. And this sisterhood has given me the love and support and patience to get past that, right? And so that, in addition, is a part of self-care, right? Now, the last thing I'm going to say is the lesson that I learned from my father, right? He was advisor to many people, right? Including some of the parents of Gina, you, Dom, and others, right? And presidents and governors and mayors. And his daughter has followed in his footsteps a little bit, somewhat, right? But the one lesson he always shared with me was that you always have to come back home. Always. No matter what room you're in. And so when you go into these rooms, I personally understand the responsibility of carrying my community inside those rooms with me.
We're going to take a break. Y'all stay right with me. And I see the message board. I'm going to read some comments. Thank you for the love that you're showing to us today. It's Dominique Sharpton sitting in for the Rev, taking your calls. You still got time if you want to join in. 1-877-532-5797. But we'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers.
I remember I was 12 years old. I was a boy preacher in the Church of God in Christ. Bishop Shear knew my bishop, Bishop Washington. Bishop Washington, my mother was concerned I was getting into politics. They brought us to Reverend William Jones. His daughter's traveling with us. And Reverend Jones introduced me to Jesse Jackson. I became his youth director in New York at 13. I liked Reverend Jackson because he was a little hipper than the older preachers. He was 27, I was 13 by the time I became youth director. So he was like a father figure to me. When I got about 40, he said, quit calling me father, call me big brother. We went to the car center, and James Meeks and Jesse Jr. and I had dinner with him that night. And that's when he said to us, Al,
Me, just as you, y'all are my disciples. And we said disciples. And for years we joked each other. I'd come in the room and Junior say, here's disciple number 1. But discipleship meant you carried forth the vision. The next day, he took me on the ferry to Goree Island, Mrs. Jackson. On Goree Island, he showed me where the slave camps were. And I will never forget, he said, Al, you see what that artifact is? I said, what's that? He said, they call it the door of no return. When you go through that door, you either made it to America to slavery, or you died in the Atlantic. The door of no return. But I talked to him about 3 years ago, and I reminded him, I said, remember you brought me to the door of no return? He said, yeah. I said, well, we did return. We returned the President of the United States, Barack Obama. We returned the Vice President, Kamala Harris. We returned with businessmen. They thought they sent us as slaves. We came back as global liberators. The problem is that too many of us did not join the movements that sponsored us. And there was a breakout in 2024 called Negro Amnesia, where you forgot where you came from and forgot how you got where you got. Therefore, they're trying to take back everything you had.
At best, I can say this is a tough act to follow. I feel like Liz Taylor's sixth husband, he knew what to do, but he wasn't sure how to make it interesting. So I have a challenge right now, and I ask you to bear with me. Because I'm not deep feelings about Reverend Jackson for the last several days. Because I've been with him, working with him for almost 5 decades. Actually started with his campaign in
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the 2 most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you're very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
A blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I had to learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustling, or
I kept going, and the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm Dominique Sharpton, Reverend Sharpton's eldest daughter, sitting in for the Rev today. Reverend Sharpton is traveling in Houston. He's in Houston, Texas today, but I've been sitting in the hot seat. I've been talking to you all across the country. It's always a pleasure to keep it real with y'all, keep it real with those that called in, and keep it real with the message board and those that are writing comments and involving themselves in the conversation. Thank you so much. We've been talking with the Daughters of the Movement. I'm so happy to have my Sisterhood tribe join us on Keeping It Real today as we are talking on this Wellness Wednesday. So thank you so much, sisters, for hanging on and joining me and staying with me. And for those of you that are watching on live stream, over the break, we played a recap of when Harry Belafonte came to National Action Network's convention and was honored at our Keepers of the Dream gala, and Reverend Sharpton and Martin Luther King III presented him with an award. It was an amazing, amazing, amazing moment for the movement, full circle moment, of course, for Reverend Sharpton and for, I'm sure, the late, great Harry Belafonte. And so those of you who are watching, we got a legacy of sisterhood that's on with us. And I want for you sisters, of course, to share with us. I know you talked about you were recently at Morehouse College. Like, what's going on? Anything else that we need to be aware of, sisters, please? And also want to know, as we are talking about, who our legendary parents are, of course, and people are connected all over the country, want to know who's that, who's this, who's that. We want to also, know what are some of the lessons, of course, that your parent or grandparent has taught you, your legendary grandparent or parent has taught you, that you, of course, still carry with you today in your work that you do. And we all are dynamic in our own rights, of course. I must say that as well. So please share with us that. I don't know who wants to go first. Stacy, Hesna, Keisha. Hello?
Kick it over to Hesna because I shared my lesson. Yeah.
I'll go first. And just for the record, we are a multi-generational tribe, as my sister Dom says, and I am the eldest of that tribe. My parents, Ossie Davis and Ruby D, were very much involved with the parents of All on the Call, as well as others in the civil rights movement that I talk about in terms of centuries. And one of their roles was to use art as activism, and they did that with the things that they wrote, the things that they supported. I'm reading some of the letters that they wrote to each other about how they would write to producers or directors and say, this is not how Black people behave. Or my father did a movie in Harlem, Cotton Comes to Harlem, and they shut the set down until there were Black people on the crew. So they did those types of things, both of them. And my mom broke a lot of records for being the first, the first African-American actor or actress in the Shakespeare Theater in Stratford, Connecticut. And doing the roles, she and Uncle Sidney Poitier, doing those roles that were new to African Americans. they were also relative to the team of our parents and grandparents, because, Percy Sutton, Bill Lynch, Reverend Al, Harry, Diane, they all knew each other, and they did have they were generational too, as well. My parents were the oldest, but they worked together, and, many a time it was Harry calling saying, see, Ruby, you got to go and you have to do this. And they were, mentees of Paul Robeson. And it was my parents who would be like the MCs, or, on the March on Washington, it was my parents who led the call to move from the monument to the memorial. And when they had these events, raising funds that Percy Sutton was, very involved in, and Harry too, they were the MCs, and they would bring the story and the plight and the history of our people, and then weave in how come folks needed to fund and raise money. In my experience, watching my parents grow up and work, I learned a couple of things. Those basic things, how to wash windows, shine shoes, and do your chores, those kind of things. But my father, he taught me about grace. And I see now how his approach to being, to solving problems and to getting people together, because he worked with Mr. Sutton and others on, the Apollo, and who should be, chair of the board during this middle ground, who can help us keep both sides of the story talking. It was Dad. And I learned from him grace as I worked as an educator as well as an artist. And from my mother, I learned fierceness.
We got to leave it there, Hesna. Thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Hesna Muhammad, Keisha Sutton James, and Stacy Lynch. Also, Gina Belafonte from the Daughters of the Movement. And you can follow us, daughtersofthemovement.com, or you can go on Instagram and follow us at Daughters of the Movement. Thank you so much, sisters, for joining. Thank you so much to everyone who called in today and got through, and who wrote us and your comments on the message board. And remember, we'll be back tomorrow, but remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, and however you feel, make sure that you tell someone, we told you. Reverend Sharpton told you, Dominique is telling you. You got to keep it real, y'all. Keep it real. Keep it real. We'll talk with y'all tomorrow.